In the previous video, we created a simple Node.js module and published it to the NPM store. Well, that was fairly easy to do. Publishing front-end components is not that straightforward, especially when you're working with a framework. So we'll be doing just that. In this video, we'll be trying to publish an Angular component to the NPM store. So we'll be creating two kinds of application in this video. The first one is your typical single page application, and the second one is an Angular library. So let's just create the application first. So just type in ng new followed by the project name. So this is your typical single page application. We'll be creating a separate library which eventually will be used inside this application. So again, opening the terminal, clear this and just type in ng generate library and the name of the library. So in our case, I'll just put in custom button here. While this is happening, I'll just go to my angular.json file and see what all projects I have over here as of now. So currently I just have one project, which is this demo Angular project, and the type of this project is an application. If I close this, the custom button project is also being built, and you can see the type of the project is a library. So the default project is going to be the single page application, but we do have another project which is of the type library. So this command here, generate library, also creates a project directory over here. If you take a look inside this, you'll find yet another Angular application. There's a package.json file for this application. There's tsconfig. There's everything that you'd normally see for a regular application also present inside this library. Inside the source folder, we have a lib folder which contains the component, the service, the module, everything related to this specific project. And there's also this public api.ts file. So whatever components or services or modules you want to export in your library, you'll add them inside this public api.ts file. So if you wanted to export something from your library and you have not added it inside this file, the user who's going to use your library will not be able to access it. So yeah, this is going to be the entry point for the consumer who's going to use your library. Now we can actually add some logic to our library. So since it's a custom button, it's not going to be that fancy. I'll just replace this with a button tag. And since this button is going to be dynamic, I'll just add a variable here for the color property. I'll need to pass an input inside the component which will point to this variable here. So the user will be able to set his own color for this button. I can set this to string and a default value of black. I'll need to import this. Now we can build this specific library project. So we actually bundle this project into a separate build folder, and then that build folder, which is an optimized version of this project, gets published to the NPM store. So we can just simply type in npm build and the project name. So custom button is our project name. You can always refer to the name of the projects inside the angular.json file. You'll find both the projects here. The first one is demo Angular project and the second one is custom button. So npm build, actually not npm, it's ng build custom button. So this is done. If you go on the top, you'll find this directory And whenever you create a build folder, a production build folder for any of the projects inside this application, so even if you create a production build for this demo Angular project, the single page application, it will still show up inside this dist directory. So it will have a different folder for this project, and you can already see that it has a folder for the custom button. So this is done. I'll just clear the terminal. The custom button inside this dist folder basically acts as a third-party node module. So normally what you do is you'd use npm install to install the package inside your single page application, but in our case we already have it inside the dist folder, so it acts like it's already present inside the node modules. It's not actually present inside the node modules, but it acts like it's already there. So we can directly refer to it inside our application project. So the source folder for our application project is present over here. I can just open it and go to the app component. And inside the HTML file, I'll just remove everything from here. I can directly refer to the selector for my library. So if I want to see what selector I have for my library, I can just go to the projects folder, open up the TS component, and I can see that the selector is lib custom button. I can just copy it and use this. Now before using this, I'll need to import the module that I'm exporting from my library inside my app module. So import from, as you can see here, the code editor is already suggesting the custom button library, which is present inside this dist folder. We have not really installed it yet because we have not really published to the npm stores. So we are referring to the build folder that is present inside this dist folder, the custom button. I can import these 3 items from the package. So for the time being, I just need the module. I'll just add this. I'll save this, and since I have a dynamic color property added to this package, I can pass in my own color here. So let's just pass in green for the time being. Save this and now run this project. So ngs, this is basically short for ngserve. Okay, so I actually got an error because I have imported it over here, but I need to add this module inside the imports array as well. So I'll just do that and save this. Now it's working fine. If I go to my browser now I've got this button here, but it doesn't really have a name. So I'll need to add something here. So I'll go back to my library and there's the TS file here. I'll just put in hello world. I'll save this. So this won't work because this is a package that we are referring to from the dist folder, and the dist folder will have the bundled elements. So anytime you build something, that gets created and added to the dist folder. So I'll need to build this library again because I'm not referring to this, I'm referring to the dist folder. I need to build it again, custom button. I'll actually restart this now because it lost the reference to the module for a split second because the dist folder was being reset. Now it will work. Hello world. Now we have this green color here. If I go back to my app component, change it to blue, you'll see a blue color now. So this is working fine. Our component is working fine. Now just to show you that we are actually referring to the dist folder here, the custom button inside this dist folder, I can go to the tsconfig file and just comment out this paths key here. So this paths key here basically points to the built items, the bundled items inside the dist folder. So anytime I try to refer to the package, custom button package inside my single page application, it's basically pointing to these 2 paths. I can comment this out and now my application should give me an error because there's no such thing as a custom button for this application now. It's not being, it's present inside this dist folder, but the path is not yet been added to the dsconfig file, so it's not able to figure out where this is coming from. So if I go to my app module, I'll see that I'm getting an error saying that can't find the module. If I change this back now, the error should disappear. Yeah, so it works. So at the end, when we actually publish this to the NPM store, and when we try to install and then use it from the NPM store, we'll need to just comment this section out, because as long as we have this over here, it will still keep referring to the build folder that is present inside the dist directory. So we'll need to comment this out at the end. Actually, you know what, we'll just do that right now. I clear all of these files now and open up a new terminal. Now to publish this library to the NPM store, we'll first need to rebuild our project, but this time we'll be creating a production build. So npm build, the project name, which is custom button, and add in a prod flag. Again, I keep typing npm instead of ng. Now our production build is ready. I can just clear this. Inside the dist folder, the custom button project exists. I'll need to go inside that folder. So cd dist and cd custom button. So now that I'm inside this folder, I can just type in npm publish. Now we might see some set of errors here because npm has its own set of caveats. So in case of npm, we'll first need to log in as the correct user. So if I'm trying to publish this to the NPM store, it needs to be present inside some user's account. So that user credentials you'll need to pass in first before trying to publish it to the store. So I'll just clear this and do an npm login first. All these things have already been covered in the previous video, so you can watch that first. npm login will basically require 3 items: the username, email, and password. So I'll just add my npm account credentials. So now I'm logged in. Now I'll again try to publish the same thing. We'll again probably get an error. Yes, the error that we see here is still the permission error, but it's actually something different. So if you've watched the previous video, I explained you the concept of scoped and unscoped packages. So the name of the package that we have here, custom button, I'm assuming that it's already occupied by someone else, so it's already existing inside the npm store or something similar to this. So npm won't let us create this package because there'll be a naming conflict if we publish 2 packages with the same name. So we'll need to change this first. So I need to go back to my project, and inside my package.json file, this is the project and not the dist folder. We'll need to rebuild again. So I'll need to go to the package.json file. Actually, we don't need to make the change inside the project file, because since we are making the change only inside the package.json file, we can just do that inside this dist folder's package.json file. So the name of this package needs to change. Now when I try to publish this is going to be published as a private package because scoped packages are private by default. This also has been covered in the previous video. So I need to add this access public flag so that I'm able to create this package, because so whenever you create a private package, you'll need to pay a monthly fee. And since we don't want to do that, we'll just create a scoped package, but it's not going to be private, it's going to be public. So npm publish access public, and let's try to see if this works. Actually, I misspelled access here, so I'll do that again with the correct spelling. Now since I got an error while publishing this package to the store, here when I misspelled access public, it tells me that there's a package that already exists inside the npm store with the version 0.0.1. I'll just change the version to 0.0.2 now. and do this again. This time it should work. Okay, so now it tells me that it's been published successfully with the version 0.0.2. I'll actually go to the NPM store and see if this package is present or not. I can see here that this custom button project has been created. I'll come back to VS Code now, and now we'll try to test this out. So we'll need to go to the tsconfig file first and comment the path section. So now we are not referring to the dist folder. I'll just save this first and see if I get an error inside my app component. If I go to app module, yes, I do get an error saying that this cannot find the custom button module. So I'll need to install it now. So npm install this library here. I paste it, and now I'm currently inside the dist folder here. So I'll need to go back into my main project directory and try to install it inside this now. So okay, so this is done. I'll just clear this terminal. Now I'll need to replace this custom button with the newly installed library, which is going to be this. So I'll see this now, and if I go back to my browser and open up my application, I'll see that it's still working fine. There's no issues here because essentially the package is the same, but only the reference has changed. So initially it was referring to the build that was present inside this project, and now it's referring to an actual package which was published inside npm store, and we have installed it and added it to our project. I go back and not here. I'll go to my app component and try to change this to red. Let's say this will work. So we have successfully created an Angular component and published it to the npm store. Now Angular makes it very easy for you to test your library. So anytime I make a change to my library over here, let's say I change this to something else, custom button, I'll be quickly able to test this out by just building this project. When you are building the project, ng build custom button, you can simply pass in a watch flag at the end. So what this flag does is basically create a new bundle anytime you make a change inside your project. So if I change this to something else, it will create a new bundle for my project. It keeps listening to the changes that I make. So the change that I made here, at that moment it will create a new bundle for me, and it will replace this new bundle with the previously existing bundle. So I don't have to do anything manually. It will all act as if it's hot reloading in the background. So in order to test that, we'll first need to go back to the tsconfig file and again refer to our dist folders bundle and not the bundle that we are importing from npm. Inside my app component module, I'll change this back to custom button, and now I'll ng build custom button with a watch flag. So it will be listening for any changes made to the project. Now if I go back here and make a change inside this colorful button, let's say, and just save this, now I don't need to do anything else. I can simply go back to my browser and see if the change worked. Actually, I'll probably need to reset my server once. Okay, so now it's working. I can go back here and see this colorful button. I'll just replace this with something else, ABCD, and I didn't need to do anything. It's going to auto build for ABCD. So the testing process becomes a lot more convenient for a developer because you won't need to rebuild it again or even republish it again. In case of React, you would normally want a third-party application like Storybook in order to test out your components, but Angular provides it out of the box, which is actually a great thing. So I have the service here. If I want to access something from the service file in my application, that again is a very simple process. So like you would normally do, create something inside your service. So I'll just create an employees array. Okay, so we have our employees object here. Now to access this inside the application, I can just go back to my application. Now in the TS file, I'll add an onInit method. So this runs every time your application is initialized inside the browser. I need to implement it first. And inside this onInit, I'll try to access the employees array that I just created inside my service file. So console.log employees. And in order to actually fetch this, I'll need to first add the service to this file. So now once this is done, I can just simply replace this with this .cbservice.employees. If I now save this and open up my application and open the console, this is basically the array that we had created inside the service file. So using services from your component library is also a straightforward process. You'll just need to refer it inside your application guide like you would normally do in case of a third-party package. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So we have successfully created an Angular library and we also published it to the NPM store. Now do remember that every time you make a change to your package and try to republish it to the NPM store, you will need to update the version inside the package.json file. So if you go inside your package.json file inside the dist folder, now if you try to republish it, you'll need to change this first. You'll need to increase the version because NPM won't let you update the package that you have previously published with the same version number. It expects an upgrade from you, so you'll need to increase this. So that's pretty much it. If you have any doubts or suggestions, you can put them in the comments. You can also watch the previous video wherein I have explained NPM packages in a lot more detail. I'll also be creating a similar video for React. So we'll be creating a React component and publishing it to the store. So do subscribe for that. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one.